Alright, so recently I put everything back together in a different video, and it just wasn't seeming to want to keep running, which has been my problem the whole time. But I do have a coolant leak back here I have to fix, and then I'm going to rip this whole manifold off, intake, and replace the injectors. But before that, I'm going to test the fuel pressure just to make sure the regulator and return and everything is good. And I have all those parts, so I'll probably replace them as I go. But yep, that's that. And then this bracket here I need to replace for the airflow valve. So let's get to it. Now, throughout this video and the repairs on the car, the fuel pump was never actually turning on. It seemed like it was, because you'll see later in this test that I do get fuel pressure. But what was happening, I think, was the cold start valve would spray, but there was no actual pressure from the pump. The fuel tank, though, sits high in the car, and then the lines come from the bottom of the tank. So I believe, I still don't really know the reasoning, but I think it was siphoning off the tank, which I've never seen before. But I have a combo relay that was really just doing weird stuff, and it just never gave power to the pump. I had to go back to the basics and ended up running a separate relay, which unfortunately I didn't video, for powering on the fuel pump separately. So you can see here, like, there's no fuel pressure. And it's one of those things where, you know, seems obvious in hindsight, but at the time, I just could not figure out what was going on with this car, and I just had to go back to the basics and check everything. Okay, readjusted here to the feed line instead of the return. Let's see what happens here. So I ended up not having any power at the fuel pump, which I figured out later. And then also this fuel pressure regulator was not working correctly. And so even when I got the fuel pump to turn on, it wasn't building up enough pressure still. It was like semi-open. So I got another fuel pressure regulator and then the fuel pump to get it to turn on when the key was on. And then stuff started going well for me. But sometimes you just gotta, you know, bring yourself back to the basics instead of going down the rabbit hole. And I also redid my timing belt because it had been done previously, but the timing was off a little bit, and so my distributor was off a little bit when I was trying to adjust that. So I had to kind of just go back to, you know, square one, and then, you know, go from there. So each one of these injectors here has got two bolts holding it in place with a bracket, and then it's just sitting in there. So some reason here my video got inverted and I'm not exactly sure how to edit it with the app I'm using, so I apologize. This is me pulling the injectors out, and you'll see in the next portion here them in the pan. Okay, so I'm gonna try and use this to turn the injectors on. Let's see if it works. Keys on. Nothing is happening. These are the injectors that we left off last time. The only way to really turn them on, this is the combo relay. One's for the fuel pump, one is for the injectors, but they hook them to the ECU and stuff, and without really screwing around and trying to mess up things to turn them on, I'm just gonna leave it alone. You can see down in here, hard to see, but there's seals in each one of those. Let me go back around here. You can see there's a seal there. You got these new lines. That one's not too bad, but some of these were looking pretty crusty, so I'm gonna replace all those, replace the injectors, replace the seals. Then before putting this thing back on, I'm going to change the valve cover gaskets, which I have over here. These are valve cover seals. And then in there, those little guys, I believe, are the fuel injector O-ring things that they shoot into. Messy. All this stuff is just from leaving things out. Working on the gauge dial there. Tack needle was broken. So here's the new fuel injector. It doesn't come with any seals, but it does come with this fuel line and on a hose clamp. I got 6 of those, obviously, and then I got the bracket in here for that, and this is the cable for that other airflow valve. And then in that bag there, I got the rest of the fuel line stuff. Oh, and we're gonna do spark plugs, because these spark plugs, I'm sure, are blacker than black. I took them out once to clean them, but that was a while ago, so yep, let's get to it. All right, I'm gonna remove the fuel line here, this return line there. This is gauge, that's what that is for the fuel pressure testing stuff I was doing last time. I remove the lines, get this fuel rail off completely, swap the injectors on the bench, get the seals out from down in there, and go from there. These are makeshift hose clampers with silicone hose that I had, and I had tools for these at one point in life, but now they're just here. So as you can see, these are the seals down in here. Those can be vacuum leaks. Technically, even the things underneath of these plenum deals could be leaking, but I'm not gonna mess with those. You can see too that it's got some seeds and stuff down in there that I'm gonna vacuum out. But we'll change those seals out and put it back in there. So here's the new injector. You can see pretty clean. And then the old injectors, they're like a little bit different actually, which is hopefully not a problem. This is for this car. So well, that looks way different, but let's hope that doesn't match, because this is all the same hookup, and I ordered it off Rock Auto, so it's got to be right, you know, famous last words. But you can see these injectors are quite gross. Here for the cold start injector, we're going to change to. I see what's going on. So while the nozzle's a little bit deeper, that shouldn't matter because it's still going to spray, you know, with that seal. But each one of these has a C-clip, and the bigger O-rings here are going to sandwich in between, I believe. So we're going to learn together here. On these new injectors, it has a retaining ring already, so I don't need to take this off. And I'm going to save these and send them out to see what's up. So this injector here has this little Teflon looking cap, which I was reading about. You know, you're not supposed to break them or anything, they stay with the injector. But this is completely different. It looks like it's got a spray nozzle type thing inside. So there's a gamble, might be taking these back apart. So I got excess hose here. This is the hose I got with the kit. And I marked it there, kind of get an idea, because this is way too long. If I screw up, you know how that goes. But I think what I'm gonna do is pop these all on there. So it's still a little long, but I think that'll be okay. We're not getting crazy. And if you line these up here, again, just slightly long. But better to be a little long and a little short. This is a little bit of gas. Wet the things, we'll see if it melts. Whoop. stuff looks like it's really fresh. Really clean. You can see here how this is the exhaust push rack going off this cam. And it goes under this rocker here. So this is what we gotta adjust here. Okay, so I'm getting this screwdriver here. It's going, I took the spark plugs all out. Screwdriver's going down into cylinder 1 so I can get it to TDC here. I'm turning it off a cam because I don't have a special tool for the hub, but basically there's a big bolt that I can turn, and all the spark plugs are out, so there's not much resistance. So get it to TDC on 1, I can check the valve clearance. So you take this feeler gauge, this one's .229. You fit it in here. It's not going really. So that one's tight. You gotta loosen it up. It's saying tolerance can be between 225 and 250. This is 229. It's right on the edge of the tight side, and it's too tight. So I'm gonna loosen it up, make sure this goes through well, and go on to the next one. So now, with it adjusted, this can go in. Got some friction there, but it's smooth. So that's how you do it. These caps here are what you adjust. You loosen that right there, twist the outer part in and out, and then measure in between here, and then tighten it back up here. After verifying that the engine was good by the compression test, I was really going back to the basics. I suspected that maybe the fuel injectors weren't working. I mean, I was really at a loss. But eventually with doing the timing, making sure that the engine was good, and then figuring out that fuel pump issue, everything started to go smooth for me. Stay tuned. I've got more videos coming up, including replacing the headlights and some driving. So thanks again, and enjoy.